That's going on in Maine. Let me take you through some of the details. First of all, let me show you the house. This is a house in a place called Belfast, Maine. Looks like a house where anybody could live, right? Who knew what was going on inside here? A man named 29-year-old James Cummings has been killed by his wife in a domestic dispute. But when police went in there, you're not going to believe what they found. First of all, let me tell you what others had said they had already seen in the house. He had Hitler paraphernalia and Nazi paraphernalia all over the house. Co-workers said he was extremely distraught about the fact that Barack Obama had been elected president of the United States. Now, let me show you a picture of some of the agents who were going into this house after they were called. There you see the hazmat unit coming out. Apparently, they found material in his house to make a dirty bomb, or to try and make a dirty bomb. So much so, in fact, his wife said that this is what he wanted to do. That's what she had told police. Let me show you a graphic. We've collected some of the information. And by the way, most of the stuff here, this is no big secret because you can get this by Googling anything you want. Bomb-making ingredients that were found in his house. There you see some of them. Hydrogen peroxide, uranium. Remember that word uranium, though, because it's important. Thorium, lithium metal, thermite, aluminum powder. These are some of the things that apparently he was going to use. Beryllium, boron, and black iron oxide, and magnesium ribbon. All right, you look at this story, and you can't help but shake your head and think to yourself, okay, what's going on here? How frightened, how worried should we be? So were we. So we called the FBI, and we've been doing some digging on this story. Joining us now is Tom Fuentes, former FBI agent who's been asking a lot of questions about this for us. First of all, what do we know about this guy?
Well, basically we know, Rick, that he was a wannabe for a neo-Nazi group. He had prepared an application to be mailed to join one of the Nazi-type white supremacist groups. He had not yet mailed it. So, as you mentioned earlier, we would technically call him at the moment a lone wolf at the time of his death, but obviously somebody who wanted to join with others that had the same neo-Nazi philosophy that he had.
Let me ask you about some of these chemicals that I just read out. I know nothing about chemicals, obviously. I would think that some of those could be dangerous if used in the right way. How close was this guy, or was he not close to actually putting together what he had the intent of doing, which was putting together a dirty bomb? And take our viewers through what a dirty bomb is, as opposed to a nuclear bomb, which a lot of people get confused, I understand.
Okay, first of all, Rick, the nuclear bomb, obviously the mushroom cloud, as we saw in previous testing and deployments. A dirty bomb uses radioactive material that can kill people, that can poison a water supply, or render a specific physical area unusable due to high concentration of radioactivity. It's called dirty because conventional explosives are normally used to disperse it. So you may attach the radioactive material to a normal bomb just for the purpose of spreading the poison.
So he could do a lot of damage with something like that, let's say in a dense area like New York City or Boston or one of the cities that may be very close to him, if he was right in the middle of the city, for example.
Well, his intent to make a dirty bomb was pretty clear by the literature that he had. But keep in mind that all of the components that were found at the residence, later analyzed by the FBI, were determined to not be suitable for a dirty bomb. Exactly, not enough and not enriched. Even in larger quantities, it would be like being X-ray machined to death as opposed to having radioactive material.
That's the key. He had uranium, but he didn't have enriched uranium, and you have to have enriched uranium, correct?
Correct. Now, I spoke an hour ago to Dr. Majidi, who's the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Weapons of Mass Destruction Directorate.
Yes.
And he made it clear to me that, that the components that he had were not even close. The literature that he had about obtaining enriched material obviously would be suitable, but Dr. Majidi reported that this is not material that the average layperson would in any way be close to obtaining.
That's great to hear. Tom Fuentes, former FBI. Thanks for doing some of the legwork on this for us. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Rick. Good
Mark
to be
Potok
here.
joining us once again to take us through this. What's your take on this guy? What's your take on this situation? And is he the only lone wolf out there?
I mean, my take is it is an extraordinary example of what we see quite a lot of out there, which is people who are influenced strongly by the propaganda of this movement to the point where they're willing, obviously, to risk their own lives, but more importantly, to plan attacks on literally tens of thousands of people.
You got to really hate a lot to do what this guy, thank goodness he didn't have the the wherewithal to be able to do it. But you got to hate a lot.
That's true, but there
to
are other cases.
Tell me a little bit about those. Other lone wolves, not hate groups, but guys out there on their own who want to do a lot of damage because they just hate something.
Well, just a short time ago, a Marine was arrested at Camp Lejeune by civilian authorities. He was arrested because he had been carrying out armed robberies of hotels. But when they went in and they arrested this fella, what they found in his barracks was a journal of his in which he had laid out yet another plan to assassinate Barack Obama. You know, and as far as lone wolves, I mean, these people are all essentially lone wolves in that their actions are not planned in smoky rooms with large groups of people, and they are really far more dangerous than the larger conspiracies because it is so unlikely that when you have a group of people planning something like this, that it remains secret.
Exactly.
So people need only think of Eric Rudolph, the abortion clinic bomber, the murderer of a cop in the Olympics bomber, you know, Tim McVeigh, who murdered 168 people in half a minute.
Lone wolves.
I mean, it's a real danger.
Mark Potok, as usual, thanks for talking to us. Keep us up to date on all of this, and we'll continue to report it and bring people abreast.
Thank you, Rick.
Not one, not